And now, from the Cave of Wonders and recorded live in the presence of gods, welcome to the Rain Man Show.
All right, welcome everybody to the Rain Man Show. Friday, very special broadcast. Our schedules are fucked. We have no idea what we're doing today, tomorrow, next week. It's all hands on deck. It is TV season, so we're going crazy.
Does it feel like it snuck up on us this year?
It did. It came out of nowhere. And now we are completely slammed. We don't even have enough hosts to go around anymore. We need to start hiring people.
We don't pay very well. In favors.
I pay you guys in sexual favors. I get permission, though. First.
Nothing that needs to be hashtagged.
No.
It's all consensual.
Hashtag I need to make money. That's the most important hashtag there is. Yeah, I was in such a bad mood earlier today. Luckily, we did a Patreon show that kind of boosted my morale, but I hate those Facebook memories. I hate them.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we mentioned this on a show at some point, but I'm sure Facebook memories have led to many suicides at some point. I mean, if you ever want to just feel unfulfilled with your life, just pay attention to those memories. They will always make you feel great.
Yeah?
Yeah. Remembering that 9 years ago, you had a promising future. And suddenly you realize you live within the shadow of your former self in both achievements and looks.
Where has it all gone wrong?
Hey, Mike, 10 years ago, you were much better looking. Thanks. Thanks, Facebook. I appreciate that.
See, for me, the memories just seem to find the most unflattering photos or the worst moments. Like, hey, this was that image you wanted erased from the internet. You want to post about it? No, not really.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Facebook. I'm going to go slit my wrist. I may or may not survive, depending on the level of my suicide tendencies. Is it a call for help? Please help somebody. Help me get my life back on track. Or do I just really want to just end it?
Little column A, little column B.
So, Facebook, I might be back. Bye for now. Something's got to be done about those memories, though.
It's annoying. I wish you could turn it.
It's not annoying. It's depressing, Thomas. You're not listening.
Mine are annoying. Yours are depressing.
I can wait till you're 40. Wait till you're 35, 36, and you saw, a photo. Hey, 9 years ago, Mike, you were producing a film. Thank you, Facebook. I know that.
You want to post an update about what you're doing today?
And now I'm sitting in a stinky studio.
Wearing the same sweatpants.
Wait, yeah.
Eating a Hot Pocket.
Facebook isn't a good thing. I don't know why it's not more selective. You would think with all the smart algorithms they have going on with Facebook and their ability to steal people's data without you even knowing it, you would think they would also come up with an algorithm that also knows which are good memories and which are bad memories. Hey, 10 years ago, so-and-so broke up with you and you had to raise your son alone. Thank you, Facebook. I forgot about that. They have to be more selective because they choose bad memories.
I think it's almost on purpose.
One of my friends from a film committed suicide about 12 years ago, and they reminded me as if it was a good memory. You remember Paul?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm like, yes, I do remember Paul. His future was bright.
Oh, my God. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Something's going to happen soon because you know how we are. I'm going to give ourselves credit here, Thomas. We're usually ahead of it. We know how to gauge the temperature quite well. We know when something's going to happen. We called it with the 2018 movie templates where all movies are the same.
Oh, yeah. We
called that years ago. We usually call things out before it happens. And this is going to be one of them. I'm saying it right now. Facebook is going to come under scrutiny for some memory that causes
emotional distress.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to sue them. Thank you for that idea.
There you go.
Emotional. What was the exact verbiage?
Emotional distress.
Yes. Facebook, I'm suing you. Emotional distress.
There you go.
You reminded me of when my life was thriving. No, I saw this photo where we were at a strip club for Men with No Lives.
Uh-huh.
And Maggie was wearing like these really low jeans that you can see her puss almost. And she had like super cut abs. And I'm like, who's that?
Oh.
Who's that bitch? Like, why do I have a memory with her? And I'm like, oh, that's Maggie. Not that Maggie isn't still Maggie is no, Maggie's super hot still. Believe me. Hold on a second. Tony's mic's not on. Sorry, Tony. That was my bad today. For once, I admit where I'm wrong. No, Maggie still looks super hot today, but she looked very different because she had a different style. She had red hair. She had bangs. She pushed her boobs out more, like she was trying to tease me and taunt me. Say, Michael, look what I have for you. Now it's like, hey, Michael, you've seen it for 10 years. And I'm tired of your stinking dick.
Oh man,
that got real for a second.
That did get real. Repressed memories. Holy shit.
Repressed? That happened like 2 nights ago.
I know. That still lingers.
This is why I'm going to sue Facebook for mental,
class action,
psychological, and emotional
class
stress.
Action lawsuit. I'm sure you can get people in on that.
How many more big words can we throw in there? Go ahead. Help me out, Lawyer Thomas.
If you felt emasculated,
okay,
I don't know. That's emotional
That's a good
stress,
one.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fat shamed because you showed me a photo where I was 20 pounds lighter.
Man, I don't know. I'm still laughing about that last bit. So I'll get back to you with a lawyer dictionary.
No, but it's just a different lifestyle. Like, you know, when you get married, Maggie and I are like the best of friends. We have a great time, but nothing beats the opening years. You know, when you're out partying still, you're having a good time, you're drinking. Now you're content just sitting down, sipping some wine and watching, you know, reruns of Friends on a Friday night.
That sounds like a good time for you now. Yeah.
Now that's fun. But then I look back at those photos. I'm like, man, we were hot. We were awesome. I think Avi's flicking the bean. I think she's all, Thomas, keep talking. All I heard was this.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
How do you know my mic was on?
What are you doing over there? Rubbing one out, Avi?
No.
That was not a convincing no.
No.
Oh, all right. So, Thomas, during your pre-show, you had mentioned something that I thought was pretty comical. You mentioned that you had to sit at work today and listen to someone drone on stage about their depressing life. You're at a work function, and this guy goes into details about all the hurdles he had to overcome, and you posed the question whether or not you're a piece of shit.
Right.
And listen, you're with like minds here. Because Tony and I went to a screening yesterday, 2 nights ago, and they started the screening in a very similar way. I'm going there to watch a movie and have a good time. It's called escapism, right? I want to enjoy myself a film, get fat with some popcorn so Facebook can remind me later when I was thinner. And this woman starts the film club at Alamo Drafthouse where they have special movie nights. And she hypes the movie and then starts talking about a film club member that has passed, that has died. And in the middle of her talking about, which is fine, if you want to remember someone who's part of the group, okay. She goes on for about 3 minutes too long. She should have said a 30-second bit. No, we're all going to miss Moira. Moira was great. She was always here at the film festival nights.
Would have loved to have been here tonight.
She would have, that she did say that. She would have loved to have been here tonight and then leave it at that. No, she goes on for 3 or 4 minutes and she's crying now. And it's uncomfortable. It gets to that point where you can't even make eye contact with her anymore. And I look at Tony and he is smiling at his knees.
Oh, God.
You were, Tony. I looked over at Tony and he's looking down, smiling. And I just had to look the other way because I'm that guy in high school and all functions where you can't laugh. Like, I'm that guy that would laugh at a funeral. Not because I think death is funny, but because I know I shouldn't laugh. So then I can't stop laughing, and then I get a case of the giggles.
I was smiling, thinking about the good life, just like yes, very special woman, this very special woman. We will miss her.
It was
Jesus.
Yeah. So when you told that story, I was like, Tony has no room for judging. Because he was smiling. Him and I couldn't make eye contact. I looked at him for a second,
if you started
and I just stopped because I looked the other way. I had to look at Maggie, who's obviously a decent human, because she was staring at the woman listening.
I was decent.
No, you were
Not laughing out loud doesn't make you decent.
I wish we had a camera right now, Tony. He is like, you can't even see his eyes. He's so
trying
Asian
not to
right now.
laugh right
He's
now.
laughing so hard.
I was.
You know you were uncomfortable too, right? Admit
Hashtag me too.
it. Yeah. People need to find some emotional stability here. You can't just start crying in public. You know, I'm not saying, no, you know what I do? There's been moments in my life where I'm talking to people and I might get like around family, and you know what I do? I stop. I compose myself, and I realize that nobody in this room wants to feel uncomfortable watching you cry right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you hate them. And you want to make them feel bad.
Unless that's the goal entirely.
Yeah, Tony, that's the goal.
Then that's acceptable.
Jesus. All right, well, at least I feel better a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't feel...
Because you're on the same level as Tony?
Mike's on that level, too. I think Tony's apparently worse than us.
I was trying not to laugh. Tony was smiling. He was letting his freak flag fly. He was smiling.
I was being very cordial and respectful. And
by smiling at the ground.
Things.
While a woman is talking about a dead
celebrate
friend.
Life.
I don't think that's what you were
We're
there for.
Celebrating life, gentlemen.
What's wrong with Tony? Hey, while we were away, Tony, did you want to make sure you got your the HIV all cleared up? No, remember I forgot to get a cough button. And the other day,
my dad's actually suffering.
What is wrong with you guys? Like, seriously, is it a Filipino disease that we need to like be warned about?
It's jungle fever.
Because the same thing happens on a Back to Tank. I had to stop the show the other day. Nobody realizes it because I'm that good. And I had to tell David, I turned the mic off, played some music really fast for a split second. I'm like, David, you are sniffing in the microphone every 30 seconds. You're... I'm like, are you starting a lawnmower or fucking whacking it?
He's being emotional. It's emotion.
It's cocaine.
And then he coughs too, just like Tony does. And the only people... Well, you cough too, but yours is more sporadic. Theirs is incessant. They cough and they sniff constantly. Tony doesn't.
As bad as my dad. Oh my God! If my dad was here,
is your dad on air?
Is this some type of Chinese bird flu that we need to worry about? I'm being serious, Tony. Please.
It's normal. It's normal. It's black lung disease. I don't know, like that smoke from Hong Kong is getting to us in the Philippines.
It's finally
damn freaking Chinese and their pollution.
Oh, speaking of cough. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
This is what it's like doing a show with David and Tony right here.
I thought my dad all of a sudden came in.
Hold on, we're broadcasting right now. This is the Sabal podcast. This is what I'm going to do a test podcast. See if it does well. This is it. Oh wait, not cheering.
It's doing very well.
Apparently, everyone likes that idea.
Right. It's all them Asians.
Yeah, this is the podcast right here. This is it. Everyone quiet. David was doing that during the show.
It's called emphysema.
And during the on-demand version, I had to go back and cut down. So that's a lot of work. I don't have time to do that. I don't want people hearing sniffing while I'm talking about the latest Star Wars update news. And here, David, what do you think?
Oh,
that's what he does.
Oh, Jesus.
He stopped. He actually said he noticed it.
Okay.
David's really good. Tony's not receptive.
Yeah.
Tony makes a joke, shuts you down.
Yeah.
David says, oh, you know what? I've noticed that as well when I listen to the show, and I've been meaning to stop doing that.
No, but me, I'm a train. I just go through, I run over men, women, and children.
Oh, my God.
No stopping.
With some weird strain of the Filipino flu.
Because we want to make sure we do the job right.
What job, Tony? What job?
Infecting the population.
If we're running over
train
people,
derailment.
We're running over people as a train. We want to make sure that they don't get up.
That's the job, murder.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of those podcasts that we were talking about on the Patreon show that may come out, you know, people have to listen to the Patreon show and know what we're talking about. This is going to be it. That'll be the entire podcast.
Just 45 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Tuberculosis.
It's still better than Tony's comic book chaos from back in the day.
Yeah, I would agree. I would absolutely agree.
All right, so reporter confronts looters at a family dollar store.
Wait.
On Greenfield Street, you can see here people coming out with items left and right.
No, I love the sound.
Family Dollar.
I was like, Jesus Christ, Tony. All right.
Can see inside just a complete mess. People taking duffel bags and trash bags. Now noticing that we're here running away from the camera. You can see people inside here, people with
okay,
t-shirts
so this woman,
over their
she
heads.
needs a raise. This is the type of crackerjack reporting we need. Mm-hmm. She is out in the aftermath of a storm. This is how you work. You know how you had that guy pretending to be blown away by a storm a couple weeks ago?
That was so stupid.
That's not how you work, dude. You're not an actor. It doesn't look good. This is how you work. She's out there in the aftermath, and she's at a Dollar General store tracking down looters as they're running out of a dollar store. It is the best video I've seen in weeks.
Yeah.
It is so comical. These people have shirts over their heads, hoodies, because she walks in.
Yeah.
She doesn't walk in completely because I don't think she wants to be accused. I think that might be illegal that she's walking into a facility being looted that's closed.
Right.
So she walks to the edge, looks in, pushes the camera in and her mic. She's brilliant. She deserves a raise.
Coming out with bags of items.
I'm surprised she didn't get shot.
You can see these people across the street in masks. This is an ongoing situation. Looks like the police are here now. People wearing Halloween masks, looting the Family Dollar here on Greenfield Street. What kind of person robs
the dollar store to begin with? It's a buck, bro.
Yeah.
It's $1.
Damn. You don't see this anymore.
Looks like people are coming out of the back edge.
Now she's running to the back of the store so she can catch people on camera.
What state was this again?
And you know what? I read a follow-up article, Thomas, and this whole thing actually led to multiple arrests. Because they were able to identify these people. And I'm like, good. These people are shitheads. Anybody that loots. It goes back to that. I never get offended or... I watch the news sometimes and I get bothered by things that happen. Obviously, I'm a human being. I'm not Tony looking down at my knees laughing when I see bad news.
Right.
Tony's so proud of himself.
I am.
I'm a human being. I care. But the thing that really bothered me was remember when the whole water dams broke in Louisiana?
Yeah.
Remember New Orleans, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember when that happened, that whole fiasco? Yeah. And, George Bush doesn't like black people. Kanye said that and because they couldn't, foresee the future and know that this storm was going to happen. Regardless, forgetting the politics for a moment, what bothered me to my core, like really bothered me, is that people are drowning. People have nowhere to go. It was a catastrophe, complete anarchy. And people are taking pot shots at cops on roofs of their homes, taking shots at helicopters. They're raping women in the streets, in the fucking water. Then they're put into the dome, the football stadium, so that they can have water and have access to shelter. And then the rape continues in there. Mm-hmm. We are not as civilized as we like to pretend. We are no different than Rwanda or any other part of Africa. We're the same. The only thing that differentiates us is the laws of this land and how there are consequences for the most part for things that we do. Mm-hmm. But the moment law ceases to exist and anarchy sets in, people's true colors, we're not good people. And when I say we're, I'm not saying me necessarily or you.
Right.
Just generalizing the humanity. We're not good.
No.
We're not good as a bulk. We like to pretend. We put on little pink fuzzy hats and go protest and pretend we care about one another. But when it really comes down to it, you're going to loot a fucking dollar store. How much money do you think this guy actually owns?
Yeah.
This is a guy trying to make a buck. Literally. Per purchase.
You're right.
And you're looting him. Like, you're looting his... Like, if you were taking water, I might understand that. I might even condone it.
Or if you
because he would probably give water to them. A lot of these facilities will open up and give out free water. So he probably would have given them water. This is what really gets me down. These types of things, more than anything, more than Donald Trump's bullshit. That's the thing that gets me down. Things like this, because you see the true colors of society.
Well, and especially because it's not even like Katrina when the whole city was underwater. This is, people are driving right off to the side. Like, this isn't as terrible a situation as that was. There's not the same reason and motivation to do so other than you can. And that's why they did. Yeah, well, dude, people are animals. We just don't ever, you're right, because the law is we don't admit it to ourselves.
Yeah. All right, so today we're going to play a game. A Halloween-themed game later tonight. It might be fun. We're going to tell a few stories, much like Staff Secrets, but it's going to be like a hybrid version, and it's going to be penis horror stories. And we're going to do this every week for the rest of October that we do a show. And we're going to have a... Yes. And then we're going to do, at the end of the stories... Hold on, that's way too loud music. Jesus. Who's controlling the board? So we're going to tell stories. I'm going to read the stories. There'll be 4 stories for one person. And the audience, if they want to call in, 818-394-0279. I'm only going to take one call. Also, Avi's already here, so she's an automatic shoo-in for taking a chance here and winning. And we're going to see if people can figure out which story is the real story and which stories are fake. And it's 1 out of 4, so the chances are good. And if you end up guessing, I will give out a free annual membership for the new DC Universe app.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you know your Raid Man show host penis is, then you might want to call in. 818-394-0279. Not yet. I will say when. It'll be after our first break before news. And if it goes too long, we may even just bypass news because Andrew isn't here anyways. So Halloween horror stories.
About penis.
About penises.
Penis edition.
The penis edition. Yes, thank you. Now, Andrew is not here today, as I mentioned. He's allegedly working.
I think that's what he said.
He says he's working tonight, so he can't do the show on Friday.
He could be.
I don't really make big deals about things when I change the schedule around, for Friday. If he did this to me on a Tuesday, I might give him some shit. And I was positive about it. I was okay with him saying, hey, I can't come in tonight because it's an off night.
Right.
But then I see him on Facebook saying that he's going to go protest Trump because he's in town tonight, and he's going to be speaking in Mesa in the Phoenix metropolitan area. If people don't know the geography, the layout of the city, of the valley here. So Trump's in town tonight, and he asks on Facebook, Andrew, does anybody know where I can get in on a protest? I'm paraphrasing, but that's the general, the gist of it. And I'm like, a protest for what? I didn't ask, but then I see his friends popping up throughout the day, and they ask who. He says the orange something, alluding to it being Trump. And suddenly I'm getting frustrated and annoyed, more so than how the Facebook memories make me feel.
That's just more suicidal.
I'm like, so you can't show up because you have work, and you're going to protest Trump. So I'm not quite sure where he's at. Because if he was...
Maybe he's getting paid to protest.
Maybe they need some twinks in the back. Like we talked about on the Patreon show.
There you go.
I mean, the kid is elusive to me
Conundrum.
anyways. Like, he's an enigma to me. He doesn't even seem like the kind of guy that would go to a Trump protest or would protest Trump.
I feel like he is because people he knows would.
Yeah, I want to ask him exactly what he's protesting. What has Trump done to him? That I want to understand his politics, because he does not seem like the type of guy. If you talk to him on the show, AV, you're an avid listener. Do you get the vibe that Andrew's the type of guy that's going to get on the streets and protest Donald Trump?
No, I think he's full of shit. When you said that's what he said on Facebook, I was like, he's just trying to make himself look good to his Facebook friend.
That's what I thought as well, because we kind of know the real Andrew. He says as a character, but he acts the same way off the mic when he's in here with us. When he's one of the guys, he does not act like that. And I'm not saying I'm pro-Trump, but I'm saying I'm not going to waste my time protesting a guy who's done nothing to me or anyone that I know. He hasn't officially done anything that has bothered any of my loved ones or me. So I'm not, my passion isn't there to protest him. Now, if he decides to deport me and my family, then you know what? I'm going to go down swinging.
You might be a little peeved at that point.
But Andrew this is what Trump has become, though. Andrew is not the type of person that would protest Trump, nor does he care. He brazenly drops the C word that rhymes with punt.
Ooh.
But this is what I'm talking about. It's trendy. It's hip to go protest. It's, hey, I'm going to go protest. What are you going to do? It used to be the coffee shop. It used to be for the hipsters. Hey, I'm going to go play some vinyl and drink some coffee. Maybe play dominoes.
And write my book / screenplay.
Yeah, and I'm going to go get some writing done. All at the same fucking time because I'm that cool. Meanwhile, he's smoking a cigarette. You know, that's what they do.
Right.
And with the little buns on the head.
Right. With that cigarette holder, that French thing.
Yeah, it's a thing now. It's just it's a trend. It's a night out. That's what it's turned into. And it's all part of that irrational fear / hatred for Trump. And that irrational fear / hatred is more terrifying to me than Trump himself. Because the things that are happening in the name of protest.
Right.
It's changing so many things. And people may say, well, be on the right side of history, Michael. Be on the right side of history. I'm like, who's to say you're on the right side of history? What if you're in the middle of creating a civil war that we can't rewind, start over? What if you put something in action because of these protests? Because let's just say it is what it is. A spade is a spade, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just use that racist thing there.
Go ahead.
And Tony.
You have permission from Tony.
I have given you the racist approval.
Yes.
I bestow, yes, you may. You may go ahead and do that. Where was I going? What was I talking
Calling
about?
a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Yes. Tony, don't say yeah. You threw me off. Let's get back onto the racist track.
Right.
I'll be bringing you guys all back in. I just feel like we're already in the middle of a soft civil war.
Right.
Different
kind.
It's almost like a cold war, civil war. Things are already happening. Everyone's very divisive. People are saying, not my president, and they truly believe Trump is not their president. They probably view him just like, who was the president of the Confederate States? I forgot his name.
Davis, I think.
Yeah, Jefferson Davis.
They probably view him a lot like that. He's a traitor because of the whole Russia thing. He's a piece of shit. He hates people. He's horrible for America, yada, yada, yada. And you already see it happening. And it's just, and I feel like that's more threatening to this country. You can dislike someone's politics, absolutely. And you can vote them out the moment you have a chance. Please do. Use your voting power to vote those assholes out of office. People that you don't like, people that aren't part of your chosen, political perspective. That's the beautiful thing about this democratic republic that we're in. We elect the people that we want in office that then makes decisions for us. So use your voting power, but creating this civil unrest in society is what's dangerous, in my opinion.
And we'll have longer. Go ahead.
I think it comes down to, for so long, and I'm going to sound old, but these kids have heard, somebody needs to do something. And so, unfortunately, they feel like protesting is doing something. Which really what they need to be doing is getting involved with their local politics if they really want to see change.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, they think they go out and they stand around for a few hours and yell things and hold signs and
well, look at
whatever, and they've accomplished something.
Occupy Wall Street. That was what? Camping for?
I hate the 1%, and I'm tweeting about it on a 1%er's platform and on a 1%er's cell phone that I buy, and I really love it. It just was backwards
and I'm not
thinking.
saying that protesting doesn't accomplish anything, because obviously we can point to examples of it actually working.
Absolutely.
But I think the protest mindset of the entire country and almost an entire generation is not going to accomplish what they want.
Yeah, protesting in this day and age only does so much. Marching for support and awareness is one thing, but actual protesting is silly unless you're individuals that have been disenfranchised. And we've got so many laws. This is why I think it's silly. Unless you are being targeted and saying you have no voice, which, let's be honest, that doesn't happen.
No.
This hasn't happened since the 60s. Is there racism and prejudice that's innervated itself within our political system? Yes, it's there. And guess what? It will always be there. You can never convince people to like each other. It's never going to happen. So protesting in this day and age for disenfranchisement doesn't really exist. Yes, there's issues with the polling system that people say is being done purposely, that Mexicans are being automatically unregistered as voters, which for some reason that never happens with the 35 members of my family that I know vote. And we're all Mexican with Mexican last names. So I don't know where this is all coming from. But we've got so many laws set in place. I like to look at the positive, and this is what I'm trying to do. People are always spelling doom and gloom with our political system, but we've got so many laws set in place to protect these individuals. And if the laws aren't working in your favor, or your representatives that you've elected are not doing their job, use your power in the voting booth. That's where the change will happen. Vote the losers out of office, as I said a moment ago, and put people you want in power. You have that power, and it is the greatest power that you can wield in this country. And you see these silly Twitter users with the word activist listed in their bios, and I just laugh.
Yeah.
What laws have you overturned, activists? What laws have you enacted? None.
That used to be a Martin Luther
You're not
King.
an activist just because you bitch on social media. That's not being an activist. That's being a fucking bitch. You're just whining. You're being a baby.
You're just annoying.
Go get in the streets, pound pavement, change some laws, get some laws set, change them. That's what's going to change. And you can do it. I could right now start lobbying for change of some law. If I wanted anal sex to finally be legal in Arizona, because it's not. For some weird reason, I looked it up.
We're a friend.
Technically, I can get arrested on our freaky nights. Facebook memories reminded me of those days.
Oh, okay.
See, it goes full circle. So
if you wanted to do that
and not run the risk of some asshole cops like, hey, I know you're having anal sex right now, sir. Come on outside and I'm going to arrest you. Only missionaries legal here in the great state of Arizona. So what I would do, I would go out and I would start talking to my senators and my congressmen and my mayors, the governors. Those are the people you talk to, and you start writing down ways that you can enact a new policy. It takes work and it's fucking hard. But it can be done. That's what I would like to see happen more. If someone were to talk about that on Facebook, hey guys, we're going to be helping our local senator write a new law that's going to help these groups of individuals. Yeah. We have given them a list of things that we think should change. And the senator is going to work with us because we voted this guy in. He's going to represent us now as his constituents because we got him in office. So now he's working with us to write the laws that we want. Whether you're left or right leaning or in the center, it doesn't matter. It all applies to you in this beautiful country we live in. Despite the many flaws, the way it was written works.
Yeah.
If we just go back to that, a lot of these problems will go away. The hatred for Trump is irrational. You know why? Because in 6 years max, he's out. He's gone.
Yep.
In 6 years, he's gone, and we'll probably have a Democrat in because that's what happens. It's the balance.
There's always one, then the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you want to work.
It's too much.
I could just make noise and scream and tweet.
I mean, if you want to bitch about something, bitch about Stormy Daniels revealing what Trump's dick looks like. Because now that's been blazed into my memory. No one wants to know that shit.
No way. I was pissed about all the talk about Stormy Daniels until we found out that she lost her case and now has to pay him back.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. That's a good story. See, that's a story with a happy ending. And we already knew what. Let's not pretend we didn't know what Trump's dick looked like. Dicks usually match the face of the person. They usually match. If you have attractive features, you probably have an okay looking dick. Even if it's 3 inches, your dick's probably okay looking. Complexion's probably fine. There's no weird discoloration. That's my taste. I like no discoloration in my dicks. Seriously, I turn off porn if a dude has a discolored dick. It's got to match.
What kind of porn are you watching?
The dick's got to match. Come on, Thomas. You're telling me you've never seen porn.
No, I know what you're talking about. I'm just laughing because I never thought of it like that.
Doesn't a discolored dick bother you a little bit?
Don't they screen those guys?
Like he's not diseased necessarily, but I get what Mike's saying, and I never thought of it like that.
Like you'll have a white guy with like a really dark penis. I'm like, why, bro?
What'd you do?
Like,
Are you watching like Michael Jackson porn? Like what the hell?
Maybe she sucked it so hard the skin came off or something.
Oh my god, is that going to be the Halloween dick horror stories?
Oh my god, that was the worst image I could have thought of. Why, Tony? God, he's just laughing up a storm.
Avi, really fast.
What?
You now I'm going to try to phrase this question in a way that it doesn't give up too many details. Now, you had sexual relations before your husband, right?
Correct.
Of course you did.
Shut up. What does that mean?
Okay, so have you, in your travels, in your sexual adventures, but prior to your husband, just in case he's listening, we're not talking about him. Was there a gentleman that had a discolored penis that you were with?
No.
Did you ever? No, never. You never. So the skin matched the rest of his body.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So maybe that's not a common thing. Maybe I just watch too much porn and I just see, it's a ratio. It's a ratio where if you see 20 dicks, chances are in one's going to be discolored. It bothers me. Discolored penis. Now that's a thing we need to change.
I didn't
in the
know
legal
that was
system.
a thing, and now it bothers me.
It's a thing.
You gonna protest it?
I'm gonna protest it, and
my porn should be unicolored dicks.
I'm gonna get a little sign. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna make a sign. I'm gonna put it on video next week. I'm just gonna have it in my studio. Vote no on discolored dicks and porn.
The new proposition.
I'm not talking about, for anybody just listening, I'm not talking about actual like black dudes or Mexican dudes that their skin matches.
You're talking a two-tone.
White guy has matching penises as well sometimes, but then every once in a while you get that white guy that has some weird colored dick. I'm like, is part of you black? I would believe that if you had like 4 inches
that
more.
I had only slept with white guys?
No.
No, he's just making a clarifying statement.
No. I'm just saying in general. I'm generalizing. Oh, look at her trying to say, I like black men too.
Shut up, Mike.
For any of those horny guys out there listening, I like all of them.
I like one.
It's better than Raina. Just wait till the Patreon show. Raina, I don't even know if I should even say it.
Oh no, that's
you know what? I'm gonna say it. Patreon show. It's the most. I think it's the worst thing we've ever. It's worse
probably.
It's probably the worst. And she's gonna get away with it because she's a woman and she can say stuff like that.
She messaged me when you guys were done, and she was like, "Okay, it's your turn," because now we've been having a joke about two-timing or double teaming you guys today.
Yeah,
and all she'd say was it was a really good show, and I was like, "Oh man, this is going to be great! I can't wait for the Patreon."
That's not wrong. It's also borderline illegal.
Oh, jeez. You know what?
Hey, the Rain Man Show will be right back. I love the cocaine. You're listening to The Rain Man Show with Michael Flores.
And we're back. You can find us on TuneIn. Search RM Channel 001 if you missed part of this broadcast. Also iTunes, Stitcher. Listen to us live.
That's what we want, right?
That's what we prefer. And you get those live numbers up. We do fantastic on demand, but live, I feel like it's a little rough just because we're not consistently on Tuesdays.
Right.
If we were Monday through Thursday every day at 7, our live audience would build very fast.
Well, if we get Patreon up, if we get some things to break for us, then we can make that more of a regular, consistent thing, right?
Yeah, and we have the Halloween game show starting up here in a moment. 818-394-0279. Write the number down. Don't call yet. 818-394-0279. We will be playing the Halloween-themed game, Halloween Penis Horror Stories.
The truly frightening stuff.
Yeah. So we're going to get into that in a second. But first, let's talk a little bit about Halloween, Thomas, and how something needs to be done about movies.
Uh-oh.
The new one.
Hold on a second. Good take over.
Yeah, the new one. When you and Brian went and saw that, he sent me a text message that night. Just one angry word. Well, two, I guess.
Yeah.
But kind of gave me an insight as to what I could expect when I listened to the review.
And a part of me should say, well, there may be people out there saying, well, it's Halloween, Michael. What'd you expect? Schindler's List? No, I expected a fucking slasher film because that's what Halloween is. It's a slasher film. And I have just been so disappointed in movies lately, and Halloween has just been thrown right on top of that pile.
Funeral pile.
For the last couple of years, we've got this trend that's forming where they mask a terrible script with laughs. That's the new fix. Back in the 80s and 90s during the tentpole era, the golden age of the tentpole era with movies like Jurassic Park and I can't think of any other movies now.
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan. All those movies. I would even say the 1999's Phantom Menace. All these big movies, the Spielberg era, the Scorsese era. You had movies that were, yes, tentpole movies. They were popcorn flicks, but they had a story.
Right.
You can walk away saying, okay, I didn't just watch nonsense for the last
garbage
for the last 35, 40 minutes or 90 minutes. Unless you're watching Jurassic Park 3, that was for some reason 70 minutes. Never made any sense. That should have told me right there that I knew that there was a trend right over the horizon. But we're just a few short years away from directors placing laugh tracks within movies at this point. Because Halloween they essentially Thor Ragnaroked it. They gave you a bunch of laughs and no real story at all. And yes, it's a slasher film, but it wasn't even a good slasher film. It wasn't even a good written horror movie. It's, in my opinion, it's not even a horror movie. Horror is supposed to do what? What's the word there, Thomas? Horror.
Horrify you?
It should horrify you. It should fill you with dread. That's why the genre is called horror. And there is no moment in that movie where I feel dread, where I feel like I might be getting frightened. There was no uneasiness. There was just some gory scenes. And gory doesn't equate to horror. Scary. It doesn't equate to something being horrific or that it's not an element that necessarily fills you with dread.
So the gore was more exploitive?
No, I would like that. I would have been okay with that because that would have been fitting into a genre called exploitation films. But this didn't even want to do that. This movie, and I did a whole entire review on it, and if people want to listen to it, you can find it on Critique Revolve. You listened to it, Thomas?
I did, yeah, on the way over here.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's exactly what I feared.
I was trying to be fair without being too toxic. I got a little angry at the end where I started blowing up.
That's my favorite part.
Of course, everybody likes when I get angry.
You were just filled with a lot of frustration.
I was very frustrated because I am a John Carpenter fanboy. I'm not a Halloween fanboy. I like the first one. I think the first one's a classic.
Yeah.
And it's... to this day, I've watched it probably 30 times in my life. And I could put it on right now. And at those moments where you're supposed to feel uneasy and full of dread, guess what happens? It still happens because it's a well-written slasher film.
It's a good horror movie.
It's a good horror movie. This movie here felt like they were so focused on keeping the ADD audience involved by giving them laughs that didn't even make sense. And just in case you didn't know this, what you did, because you listened to my review, Danny McBride wrote this.
Yeah, that should have told you something.
And I actually really, really like Danny McBride. I think he was a genius for what he does, especially in his latest TV series, Vice Principals. Vice Principals is fucking stellar. Like, it's really good. And Eastbound and Down on HBO is great, but he's a comedic writer. And I understand what Blumhouse was trying to do. Blumhouse was trying to capture lightning in the bottle again because they scored in a really big way with Jordan Peele, with Get Out. He's a comic. He's a guy that writes comedies. That's how he came up in the business. And he wrote a horror. But the difference is that obviously this guy gets horror films as well as comedy.
Yeah.
Whereas Danny McBride probably just gets humor. He doesn't understand how to write a horror.
It's very different.
And the director was his director. It was one of his guys. It was the guy that directs all his episodes of TV, including his movies.
So it's just two buddies doing something that they thought they could. Oh, yeah. It can't be that hard.
The problem is, despite, your review, and it was really good, by the end of this weekend, Halloween's going to make money.
Oh, absolutely.
And Blumhouse is going to be happy.
Oh, yeah. And I said that in the review. I said, I think I said it from at the very beginning. This movie was not good, but it will score high marks with critics, and it will score high marks with general mainstream audiences because it's literally them ticking off boxes and of what's to be expected in 2018 for movies. Oh, you like laughs? You like
nonsensical plot,
silliness, and you don't really care about story. You just want to laugh and feel good.
Yeah.
If you want to laugh and feel good, go watch a goddamn comedy.
Well, there's no Marvel movies coming out.
Yeah. Fuck, yeah. Infinity War saved it for me.
It did. I will 100% back that.
Because Marvel was very dangerously coming close to becoming the funny superhero movies. Because Thor Ragnarok, even though people loved it,
and Guardians
if you really look at the movie, nothing fucking happened in 2 hours.
But the last Marvel movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, pretty much that was
I
comedic.
didn't see, and I didn't really care for that movie. I loved the first one.
Movie.
The first one I felt was a really solid entry into Marvel's universe and a good start on a new hero. But then the next one, nothing happened. There were some cute, charming moments between Paul Rudd's character and Evangeline. Is that her name? Lily, whatever her name is. I forget her name. The lady from Lost. I really like her quite a bit. I think she's very good. But
these movies are they're following a formula.
The entire movie was carried by them, and people should say, well, yeah, actors should do that, and they should, but they should also have a script. Mm-hmm. If they weren't in those roles,
you have no movie.
You have no movie. Casting is key in this movie. Maybe that was the point. Maybe they said, listen, you know what? There's no way we're going to be able to raise the stakes after Avengers, so let's just have fun with this. And that's probably what they did. But that's also part of the trend of what we see Marvel doing now.
But it's now becoming the formula that everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Guardians 2, Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. Halloween. Halloween is a mess, dude. And just because a dude killed some people in a movie doesn't make it a horror film.
It's too bad, because
if that's the case, then Arnold Schwarzenegger is the biggest horror villain of all time.
No, it's too bad. And I'll, my last point on it is that usually around this time, there's usually a really good Halloween horror film.
Yeah, it's called Hereditary. Go rent it on DVD.
There you go.
You want to be scared and you want to have minimal gore. There is gore, but minimal gore with real thought out genius writing. How you should write a horror with all the proper fear tactics and gimmicks. Watch that movie.
But the thing is, Hollywood would save their big one.
Tony, I will even do one better. I will put out a top 10 Halloween list of movies that people should watch during the Halloween season. And there'll be a wide variety. Some lighthearted ones and some really spooktacular
Guaranteed
ones.
Halloween 2018 will not be on that list.
Yeah. And yes, I'm aware I can be an elitist when it comes to movies and TV. But I kind of have to be, right? I mean, isn't that what we do? We literally sit and review movies and TVs.
Well, we appreciate movies.
When every critic we see is loving things that most people are not liking and pan things that other people enjoy, just going based solely off how they feel.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to sit here and say, okay, from a critical standpoint, fundamentally, what is a horror movie supposed to achieve, and how is it designed?
Now, Blumhouse, I'm Danny McBride. Now, what I'm going to do here with this movie is I'm going to make a comedy. And Michael Myers is still going to wear a mask and that fucking knife he holds. He's going to stab a few people, but I'm going to make sure people leave that theater feeling good.
Okay.
Laughing, having a good time.
And it's not a Halloween movie.
It's not a horror movie.
Jordan Peele, the black folk man that you hired last year, he won us an Oscar for production. So let me do the same thing. Let me win an Oscar for you. If I was the producer of that studio, the first thing I would hear would be comedy. And you're connecting that word to Halloween.
Mistake.
Yeah.
Let's introduce Halloween to a brand new generation.
All right. So let's get into Halloween. Penis horror stories.
Yeah, here we go.
Are you guys ready to throw up? Because these stories are brutal. Now, the whole trick behind this game is I'm going to read 4 stories. Only one is truthful. And AV will be a part of this game. And also we'll let one person call into the show. Not right now, but after I read the stories, I will say call. Okay?
This is pretty intense start.
I'm more afraid now than I was during Halloween.
I know.
Let's do this. Let's do it.
All right, story time. Halloween horror stories.
So wait, do we just say we know
just
the
listen?
answer?
Yeah, you're just gonna listen to the stories, and then at the end, I'll be like, "All right, tell me what's the right story," and I can only afford one prize. So if whoever calls and AV knows, we're gonna have to do a good old fashioned rock paper scissors. We'll figure it out. All right, so story 1.
Intense right now.
Can we turn this off?
The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Can we get something more subtle?
Yeah, it's like that's just like screaming
people
and
are being
psycho
murdered
murder
right now.
Holy shit.
This is what happens when I have to run the board and
You
the
need like
show.
a creeping dread, like someone walking through the forest, not some guy coming in the background.
I'm glad you want to produce the show now. I think you should have like a cool summer's breeze going through on the left channel, and then on the right channel, Michael. I think what you should do is drop the volume slightly and bring up the lightning and the thunderstorm, and then right in about 35 seconds, boom, put a blast of thunder and some screams.
Well, what you had was scaring me, so that's what my suggestion was.
All right, is this more conducive with your wants, Thomas?
Sure.
Is there anything else?
You listen to those.
Is there anything else I can do for you, like before we start?
Only red M&Ms.
All right, story 1. One time, during a dark and stormy night, Thomas Cowley
Fake.
was getting an aggressive blowjob. The girl was gagging and choking. It sounded like someone was being strangled. It was a sight to behold, when suddenly, the piercing on his cock got caught on the girl's tooth. It snagged, and it pulled, and he had thought something had torn. There was even a bit of blood seeping from the piercing.
Stop.
Tony's tapping out.
And despite the blood seeping from the piercing, this keeper of a gal kept going. Despite the fact that Thomas was in some weird sensation of feeling good, disgusted, and in pain. All right, story number 2. Once, during a lonely night, Thomas's girlfriend had gone out to spend time with some friends. He was horny, and with his dick throbbing, due to needing some satisfaction, he decided he'd masturbate to relieve the pent-up man goo.
Jesus.
Without thinking, he vigorously began to stroke,
That is a horror.
forgetting that he had worn a ring that evening. His penis piercing had got caught on the ring. He was not sure how it had gotten caught. These things are not supposed to happen. So he figured it would be easier to get the piercing uncaught if he lost his erection. But it didn't go away. So sitting there for 20 minutes and without knowing what else to do, he started thinking about his mother in hopes that his raging boner would cease to exist.
Oh my.
But to his horror, it did not.
I was laughing at Tony right now.
Oh my.
The worst campfire story.
Story 3. Now, many have heard of the infamous urban legend known as the grower, not a shower. Men living in fear of being snickered at. If and when a woman or person were to ever witness the true size of a man's genitalia during a stressful situation. Once, during a night similar to this one, Thomas Cowley had thought it would be a good idea to get his cock pierced, hoping to terrify women and men with his enormous piercing that protrudes from his cock. Sadly, that night, Thomas was mortified that the person doing the piercing struggled to pierce his penis because fear had taken over. Thomas and his penis was no longer a respectable size. Like a nightmare, Thomas's penis transformed from a healthy 6.9 to the size of a thimble. To make matters worse, there was an odd discharge caused by fear, so the stories say, that dribbled from his now deformed penis. Story 4. Have you ever heard of the tale of the boy that didn't know how to pee standing up? Oh, the horror. I love your reactions. Once as a child, Thomas Cowley had attempted to be a big boy, and he peed standing up all on his own. He was young, and his arms were just not long enough to put the seat all the way up, so he decided he'd hold it up, leaving his tiny child dick to pee and fend for itself until slam! The toilet seat, as if possessed by an evil spirit, had slammed down on his tiny child penis, leaving him emotionally and slightly physically scarred for life. To this day, he's traumatized by toilet seats. And they say if you listen carefully, you can still hear 6-year-old Thomas screaming in agony.
That's horrifying.
It is horrifying.
I threw up a little bit when I was writing this. When I was transcribing, I should say.
Right.
These are tales as old as time. Much like Beauty and the Beast. These stories will live on. All right.
So glad that's out there.
Let me, you're going to have to talk for a moment. I got to set up the phone system.
Yeah. So, again,
I know which one it is.
Then she may not be allowed to answer.
Yeah.
But only how? Never mind.
Yeah, don't give it away yet. Let's see if we can get somebody else on.
The fact that only one of them is true, obviously, therefore, Mike had to go to ancient texts, ancient horrifying stories to come up with these other ones.
They've been handed down.
Handed down.
Yeah.
I am impressed with not just the craftsmanship behind the story, but the delivery with each one of those, somehow more horrifying than the last. Tony, before we get into our guest caller answering it, which one, not do you think is right, but which one horrified you the most? Or scared you the most?
I was traumatized by that first one.
With the tooth?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
All right,
Piece
so
of flesh in the
if there's anybody that wants to call in, you can call now, 818-394-0279. First caller, first come, first serve. That's all I can do. And if no one
Raina,
calls,
are you going to hang up on her?
You want me to? So we'll see what she says if she calls in, or if it's Sean or Chris or anybody else that I know listens live. All right, someone's calling. Let's see who it is. I must turn down the horror music. I'm answering the phone. Just give me a second, because now that I have it answered, now I must make sure it's wired in to the system. Can you hear us, caller? Can you hear us, caller? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, well, it's Raina. I reckon. It's like answering the phone for my wife at this point. Like, it's like I know her voice. I know who it is. All right. Plus, I have her number on speed dial.
What?
So stupid. She's like, you better not. I'm blocking you. No more sexting with her, Thomas.
No more. You got to cut that shit out.
The fun and games are over. Although
this is not the Patreon show.
All right. So let's get back to the Halloween horror stories. Now, there's two contestants now. And I'm going to let Tony throw in his thoughts afterwards. Mm-hmm. Now, since Avi's on the show, Avi, which story is it? Story 1, Story 2, Story 3, or Story 4?
Really tough decision, but I think I'm going to have to go with Story 4.
Story 4. Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
Are you locked in?
I'm locked in.
All right, locked in. Raina.
Yes.
Is it Story 1, Story 2, Story 3, or Story 4?
I'm going to go with Story 1.
Okay. Are those your final answers?
Yes.
Okay. Tony?
Yes.
That's your signal.
Yeah.
What are your
story?
thoughts?
You know what? Honestly, one of those, that Story 1 sticks out to me Sticks.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, what did he just say?
That story one sticks out to me, and that's the tooth story. Like, haha,
what
sticks.
story was that? I don't even know.
That's the one with the tooth.
That's story number one?
Yeah.
You know why? Because I almost want to say that story came up a while back in an or something similar to that. I don't know why.
Are we saying these are actual Thomas stories, or
yes,
they just
which ones are actually which story? There's only one. One out of four is real. Okay, so did I not explain that enough? All right, so AV, do you want to pick again? The idea is to pick the right story.
So it's the bloody blowjob. The second one was what?
Okay, so Thomas masturbates with his ring and pulls at his piercing.
Oh.
That's story 2. I'm going backwards for some reason. Story 1 is the blowjob story. Story 3 is the discharge story and thimble size penis. Story 4 is the child story where the toilet seat slammed on Thomas's penis. Come on, we need an answer. Are you going to stay with number 4?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with 4.
All right, so then Tony needs to pick one.
I'm not. I'm sticking with 1 because I almost maybe it was like some sort of repressed memory of a past episode that went bad.
Were you there?
No, we talked about it. We talked about this.
I don't think we have.
If I get a backup, I'm going to go with 2.
I'm going to go with 1.
There's no
I will stick to my guns.
Okay, so Raina and Tony are going with 1, story number 1, and AV is story number 4. All right, let this sink in for a bit as I set up. All right. Yep, everybody would be wrong.
Oh,
everybody's wrong.
Is it number 2?
I like how no one's gravitating to the really gross story.
Number 3.
Because number 3 would be correct.
3.
Thomas was so mortified while getting his dick pierced that his penis went from the girthy 6.9 to a tiny, 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 tiny penis that he was very ashamed of and embarrassed. And he even had some fear discharge, as he called it in the email. I have no idea what that is, unless he was coming and he didn't realize it, even though he was non-erect. So that's the real story.
Yeah,
I was throwing up when I read it, and I kind of spruced it up to make it sound a little more comical, but that's the gist of it. Now, even though Raina and AV are incorrect, and Tony doesn't matter, that we're going to be doing this every week until the end of October. So next week will be an Andrew or Tony story, and then the last week will be a Michael story where I'll actually, for once, share some scary stories of myself. And people have to guess. Same rules, and as long as nobody wins that DC Universe annual pass, it is still up for grabs starting next week as well, which will be Tuesday, by the way. All right, so Raina, thank you for calling. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Thomas, you never disappoint with these stories.
I know, right? I have another one too.
I know you do. You have plenty of stories. Please hold on to them. Once again, hold on a second. Hey, Ava, you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, man, I was a little
horrified.
I was a little horrified.
Yeah.
See,
you asked for a horror.
See, you know what? That's a better horror story than Halloween. All right. So next week we'll do Andrew or Tony, and then the following week will be me.
I'm looking forward to that one. Not gonna lie.
What, mine?
Yes.
Why?
I feel like yours is gonna be really
bad
me.
I have
good.
bad luck.
It'll be terrible, which will make it fantastic.
Well, Facebook memories reminded me of one.
Remember this time you posted your dick accidentally?
So dumb. All right. So are you ready for news? I think it's time to get into news. Are we missing something? I feel like we're missing something that I was supposed to do. No?
No. I mean, if you want to go into news.
We're missing the twink.
You guys talk just for a moment.
Missing the twink.
So I can pull up the news. All right?
Thomas, I don't believe you.
You don't believe me on that story?
I do not.
She doesn't want to believe it.
That want is a different thing, and I have Randy that can vouch for this story.
Thimble size?
No, okay, not thimble size, but like the worst he's ever appeared in public was what was happening that day. And it's understandable in my mind because it was, metals coming to pierce it. That's not going to exactly be the greatest experience. But I was sitting there and I'm like, dude, you're killing me. You look terrible right now.
But what's the discharge? Can we get possibly someone on the phone that could answer that for us? Like a medical
somebody
doctor?
in the invasion force did already.
Oh, shit. Really?
Before we go to them, I think we should probably ask scientist Tony to weigh in and see what his thoughts are on what that penis shrinkage actually was, and if a side effect of penis shrinkage is some kind of gooey discharge.
Absolutely, Michael. Everyone knows that when the penis becomes erect, it fills with a fluid, sometimes air. And when it comes to like when you pop a balloon, it has to vacate the premises, and therefore you have a
there's a clown penis.
Yeah, and then, next thing you know, it'll just deflate like a balloon animal, and so you have that mixture of liquid and air. And, sometimes, some semen might go out as well, and urine. So, it becomes like you then have to find some sort of those fix-it flats.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Scientist Tony. Once again, you are a laughingstock of the science community.
But it's truth.
We are done.
Oh, my God.
Please, I got to get out of these dick stories. I'm going to vomit.
We got next week to get through.
I'm either going to vomit or come. I don't know.
And now it's time for news with Andrew.
Thank you for that customized intro at the last minute there. So, first story is weed was legal in Canada for a whole hour before someone got a ticket for driving and smoking.
Always got to be somebody. You always got to be that first person, right? You always wonder who's that first person that thought of, performing fellatio, or who's that first person that decided to, have sex anally. Who's that first person that decided to get arrested for smoking weed on the very first day within the opening 60 minutes? That's amazing. I want to meet that guy. I want to shake his hand.
The Winnipeg police posted a photo later that day of a redacted traffic ticket one of its officers had to write for consuming cannabis in a motor vehicle. Just like alcohol, consuming cannabis is legal, and like alcohol, consuming it in your vehicle is not. Winnipeg Police Service Traffic Division Inspector Gordon Spotto told CBC News that the ticket was issued by an officer at approximately 1 a.m., a whole hour after pot buying became legal. That's 1 in the morning. They decided not only to go get some, but to drive and smoke immediately.
Yeah, why not?
He told CBC the weed involved in this particular traffic stop was probably illegally purchased.
Oh, Randy just sent a message.
Oh, good. Thank you, Randy.
She says she cannot believe you would share that story.
Yeah. I can always surprise her with my stupid decisions.
Listen, Thomas, you're like an accessory to her, right? I mean, you're tall, you have the long hair, you have the beard. At first glance, people are like, man, this guy's Randy's a gangster. Look what she's got. And then you got to fuck it up with these stories.
I ruin it a lot.
Randy can never have friends listen to this show because she needs people to think she has her game down tight.
Right.
But the moment
here I am just fucking it up every time I talk.
You're like, oh, no wonder it makes sense now. It's just a bunch of cattiness happening.
She's like, they think she's doing a charity case?
Yeah. Like, oh, this makes sense. It's a Make-A-Wish.
Oh, it's a Make-A-Wish. While many Canadians are stoked to toke in legal fashion now, the Winnipeg police remind people in a subsequent tweet that there are still laws and regulations that go along with the new provisions. Bottom line, that you cannot smoke and drive in your car.
Hold on a second. Avi, you said somebody had mentioned or commented in the Invasion Force page.
Yeah.
Okay, what did they say? Because I can't find it.
Sean said he called it dick ectoplasm.
Oh. Oh, okay. That goes with the whole horror vibe. I should
Right?
Hey,
damn it. I should have sent my script over to Sean and have him punch it up a bit.
so it's like Ghostbusters XXX.
Yeah. All right. Just like that. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into news.
Winter penis is real, and size isn't the only thing it impacts, Sexpert claims. The cold weather could have an adverse effect on penises, apparently.
In Thomas's defense, it is a real thing. It's not just it
is a real thing, yeah.
It's a real boy. The whole shrinking thing is very, very real, and it is horrifying to men.
The lack of air.
We are terrified of it. I mean, I told that story on a show a couple months back about when I went to a doctor. Remember to check. I had a lump that I thought was cancer on my dick back, I think like 13, 14 years ago. And my penis shrunk to embarrassing sizes.
Yep, it can happen.
I think you stacked the odds against us, though, Mike, when you said thimble size.
Well, it's all in the verbiage. That's how you tell a story. I should be a politician.
Instead of saying thimble size, you just say it normal Asian size.
Oh.
Same thing.
Jesus Christ. All right. Two shows in a row. Tony's just going with it now.
Yeah, he's running with it now. First, apparently, there was winter vagina, which apparently chilly temperatures can cause a, quote, drought down there.
What?
It's a different article, Mike.
Like dry ice?
Just smokes. Now, another theory on how the seasons impact our private parts has emerged, and it's bad news for you and your little fella. Thank you, Mirror, for writing that sentence down.
Well, if it's the size of a thimble, it's a little fella.
The cold weather can cause penises to shrink, decrease erections, and cause difficulty reaching orgasm, a sexpert has warned.
See, that can't happen. Like, because even if I shrink down because it's cold, I still have sex. I just bear with it for a while.
Asian men will die
up.
Into winter?
Yeah, give me some warmth. Let me in. And then it may get back to normal size. It's very cold out here.
It's cold out here.
I'm cold and I don't have any more warm porridge. Please let me in.
Apparently, the blood vessels in the penis shut down because of the cold temperature. Annabelle Knight, sex relationship expert, told Metro UK.
And scientist.
Men can expect their penises to shrivel by up to 50% in length and 20 to 30% in girth when the weather gets chilly. My just question is, who's out there dick out in the snow?
Wait, hold on. 50%
in length and 20 to 30% in girth.
I would have nothing left?
Yeah.
50% of nothing is nothing.
Asian men will be no longer men.
If you want to be, never mind. If you want.
She adds that the colder climates, the body redirects heat and energy normally available for the peen and two vital organs in the middle of your body. Your body has to reduce blood flow to your appendages, so your fingers, toes, and your penis. The testicles also retract and rise closer to the rest of the body so they can stay warm.
We're disgusting. Why do women even like us? That the whole thing is gross. We're once again, God did not design us for success.
He just stapled it on and walked away.
Us like, he's all, that works. and then when God had time to think, then he made women the right way. All right, we're going to put all that stuff inside, and now we don't need any more of that. That's really, in retrospect, man, that looks really disgusting. There's just a piece of meat and two balls hanging between the legs. Yeah, you know, I made a mistake on this design, but I really like Adam. I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to smite him. I'm just going to make his wife better.
So Adam was the beta test?
Yes, he was the beta test, and Eve was the final...
The perfected form.
The perfected product.
Well, you can definitely tell.
Boobs, shapely ass, vagina that's inside. Imagine if a woman's vagina was outside of her body. That's just weird.
That's when he decided to pack everything up and keep it inside.
Probably why God went on a day of rest on Sunday and never came back. I'm 1 for 2. All right, go ahead.
It says here, size isn't the only thing affected by the changing seasons. Annabelle says that the cold weather also desensitizes the penis, which means less responsiveness to touch.
That could be good for you because we know that you can't control yourself and you come very fast.
Yeah. It can also cause men to take longer to orgasm, not just because they feel physically cold, but because feeling chilly is distracting. While none of this is ideal, it's really not the end of the world. People have always found ways to have sex.
Nothing's distracting when you're having sex.
Yeah, it's called have sex in a warm house.
Yeah, nothing's distracting. The only thing that ever distracts me is when a damn dog stares at you for no reason for like 20 minutes.
It's watching your fucked up balls.
I'm like, what are you doing?
And it's thinking when God made a mistake.
I'm thinking we're traumatizing them. Like they're just little kids when you think about it. They have the brains of 3-year-olds. You're essentially having sex in front of an adolescent child who has no concept of what you're doing.
And they're just like, what are you doing?
Do you not know how to shut a door?
Dogs know how to open doors.
Not my dog. Well, I make sure she doesn't open the door.
And if we don't allow our dogs in, we have bulldogs, so they're bitchy. And if you don't let them in when they want, they just start howling at the door.
They're assholes.
All right. Go ahead. What else do we have in the news, Thomas? Take us to the next article, please.
Mother arrested for leaving children in the car for 9 hours while at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Oh my God. Was she at work?
I was eating.
She left her 4 children aged between 1 and 7 years old in her car for more than 9 hours while she was eating alone in a restaurant. According to the Richmond Police Department, 34-year-old Rachel Hernandez decided to leave her kids in the car
Guilty.
while treating herself to an all-you-can-eat buffet at the Golden Corral. Oh, the 400-pound woman arrived around 11 a.m.
Whoa. 400 pounds?
400-pound woman arrived around 11 a.m. and was still eating when the police arrived on the site at 8:20 p.m. 29-year-old Sarah Ferguson, the waitress who warned the police, says she noticed the kids in the car when she arrived for her shift and saw them again when she finished her work.
I'm eating.
Oh,
Don't you concern yourself with me, Popo. I'm eating food. All you can eat buffet. I'm gonna stay here until I am hungry, until I'm full. Until I'm full, and the food's gone. As long as the food keeps coming, I'm here. My child is fine. It's cool outside. Doors are locked. Mind your own fucking business, Popo. Black lives matter. Blue lives don't.
Oh, God. Ferguson said
she was Mexican, though, right?
Yes.
I got the
There's
wrong
a photo, yeah.
Yeah, the wrong accent going. The wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all right.
Ferguson, the waitress, said, I saw them in the car when I arrived around 11:30 in the morning, and I thought their mother was gone for a quick visit at the nearby pharmacy or something. But when I finished my shift 8 hours later, they were still there.
That is sad.
Ferguson called the police, who immediately freed the children from the vehicle and went looking for the mother.
That's a whole new horror story. Imagine those poor kids staying in there all day while their mom... Was she at least, baby birding them? Was she at least giving them food as well?
No, she says she was there during the whole 8 hours I worked. I must have picked up at least 60 empty plates from her table.
They have crackers in the back I gave them before I got out.
This single mother...
Mama's got to eat.
This single mother of 4 will now face 4 charges of child abandonment and 4 charges of child neglect. If found guilty on all charges, she could lose custody of her children and spend up to 20 years in prison.
And she should.
Good.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on the fact that she's 400 pounds and has a 1-year-old.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
I mean, is it that surprising that she's 400 pounds if she stayed in an all-you-can-eat buffet for 9 hours while her children were in the car locked up? I mean, obviously she has some psychological problems. That's an eating problem.
Yeah, that's hiding from responsibility.
Yeah. All right, what else do we have in the news?
West Allis man accused of assaulting workers at county haunted house.
Oh.
Prentice, I guess that's his name. Prentice Johnson allegedly choked one woman and touched another's breast.
The horror.
The man is out on bond, choked a woman and grabbed another woman's breast while he went through a haunted house.
That's like a good time back in the 90s.
In Racine County on Sunday. Johnson, age 39, faces new charges of fourth degree. I didn't know there was that. 4th degree assault, misdemeanor battery, disorderly conduct, and felony bail jumping in connection with the alleged incident at the abandoned haunted house on Southeast Frontage Road in Mount Pleasant.
Maybe he was just in character. You know how some of those people that work in the haunted houses are in character? Maybe he was playing a...
Was he like...
Maybe he was playing a sexual deviant.
Well, apparently he appeared intoxicated and was in violation of his parole.
You know what I would have done? I would have said, Your Honor, I was working at the haunted house. And I was in character. I was playing the part of a sex offender. That's terrifying. Argue with me. That's what I say. Tell me it's not horrifying, Your Honor. Where was I? I would make them answer the questions themselves. I'm like, Your Honor, where was I at? I was at a haunted house, and I was playing the part. You have people with knives, axes, trying to frighten individuals, and they even push them around and touch them as they're walking through the haunted house. I was casted as the sex offender. Case closed, please, Your Honor.
No, I would probably do the insanity defense. I'd say, Your Honor, I walked into this house, and next thing you know, I saw these ghosts. They were pretty hot, so, I wanted to at least make sure they were real. So
you would be thrown in jail immediately with that excuse.
I would say,
that doesn't even sound like a real argument.
No, I would say that, it was the spirits. Where are these people?
You
bring
blind, that's your defense.
All right. What else does it say?
One woman said Johnson reached out and grabbed her breasts.
He wants to try to convince the judge of the supernatural.
Yes.
That the supernatural exists.
Well, this guy might be on his side.
I'm talking about logical things that could actually be believed. I'm trying to win my case.
Apparently,
Tony's trying to be tossed into the loony bin.
Exactly. Insanity. Mike, come on. Just
Tony, you don't need to act. What else does it say, Thomas?
Johnson reached out and grabbed her breast when she jumped out to scare him. Another said Johnson reacted to her scare by briefly choking her.
Oh, God.
So either A,
he was trying to choke the spirits.
Tony's on to something.
Yeah.
Or this guy was jump scare molested in prison and went into defense
He probably
mode.
did. He was intoxicated. He didn't realize that it was a haunted house. He thought it was a real house.
All right. What does it say?
According to the deputy, if he gets convicted of all charges, he may face 8 years in prison and more than $30,000 in fines.
Insanity.
Good. All right. What else do we have in the news, Thomas? We have time for that last one there.
The last one on the list or the next one?
The next one, please.
Sex-crazed fish becoming super horny because of huge level of antidepressants in the water supply.
Holler. That's why I like depressed chicks.
Fish are becoming increasingly horny because of massive quantities of unnatural chemicals in the water, according to a recent study.
Can I get a sample of that?
Right?
Horny
Because I was
fish?
going to say all the
of the
antidepressants
water.
I ever heard of makes your libido go down.
Prozac, used as an antidepressant in humans, is making fish hell-bent on reproduction from researchers from Monash University.
Would it be wrong if I slipped those antidepressants in Maggie's drink?
Well, it doesn't sound like it would make her horny necessarily. She's not a fish.
But answer the question, would that be wrong?
I think it'd be wrong.
Even though she's my wife, we can't party that way?
The Cosby defense is not a legitimate
We can't Bill
defense.
Cosby each other for fun?
Well, you need some documentation.
Well, she never gave me the official go-ahead. We talked about it. I think she was asleep when I was talking to her about it, but I think I got a little slight murmur of a yes.
She rolled over to her left. That's clearly a yes.
Yeah.
If she had rolled over to her right, that would have been a no.
Yeah, she told me, leave me alone, let me sleep. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, those are really swordfish.
Go ahead.
Animals that were given the drug in a tank in a lab spent more time chasing females than those that weren't. Scientist Michael Bertram dosed male...
News. Male chases female more than the female chases male. More at 10.
The fish given higher doses showed more frequent copulation behavior and spent more time pursuing females. Bertram wrote, in one-on-one mating trials, male in the high drug treatment performed more frequently towards females than males in the unexposed treatment.
I can never understand these studies that these scientists do. You went to college, I'm
going to see if I can get these fish to fuck.
20 years ago, you thought you were going to be like this scientist working on a new way to save mankind. And you slowly became the guy that watches fish fuck. And you were okay with it until that Facebook memory came up and reminded you that at one point you were a hopeful scientist.
Oh, fuck.
Science.
All right. That's it for today's show. We'll be back in a moment with the No Talent Thomas has a thimble-sized penis post-show.
Oh.
Radio has changed our lives.
Thank you for listening to The Rain Man Show with your host, Michael Flores, with hosts Tony Sabal and Thomas Cowley, Andrew Spindler with the news, audio guru Dustin Lucas, produced by Michael Flores and Dustin Lucas. The Rain Man Show is a Cazador Productions and Rain Man Digital broadcast production. For all things Rain Man, go to rainmanshow.com.
freaky hoes doing shows, doing tricks to make us holler on a given night.
Welcome, everybody, to the incredibly talented post show with Thomas Cowley and Tony Sabal and special guest Avi.
Hello.
Andrew is not here, so
He's protesting the Trump rally.
right. That was one thing. That's the main reason he's not here today, was that he claimed he had work. We talked about that a little bit briefly. Playing devil's advocate, he could have work, and then by the time he gets off, wants to go to the protest. But I don't like. Realistically, we're just going to go with he's following his friends. And I do think Mike is on to something with that Andrew does seem to be a very different person, not on air, off air. He seems to be a very different person with us versus what I've seen him interact with the other people he frequently spends time with. This seems where he like kind of lets his guard down, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I don't know, Tony, you see him a lot too. What do you think? Do you think he's peer pressured into Trump hate, as Mike said, that it's this kind of trendy thing?
I don't know. I think it is a part of his makeup DNA. I think he maybe, I could see your point that, his friends that he hangs out with, they're into that. So it feels like part of that desire to be liked. But then again, this is a guy who brings in cheese to the studio.
That's true. He does do things that make us hate him.
Yeah. And he is a twink.
Well, apparently that's just something that Tony's not a fan of.
And
Avi, what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think it's peer pressure, or do you think he genuinely disagrees with a lot of his political stance?
Honestly, I think Andrew is a follower. And so when he
likes to be with the crowd.
He's with you guys, he does what you guys do, and then when he's with his friends, he does what they do, and then
we protect them.
So he's my buddy outside of all this is very similar to that. What I call him a chameleon friend.
Yes.
He changes his personality and his demeanor to better blend in with those he's spending time with or who he's interacting with. So from that aspect, that makes sense. That does seem to be a little bit more, maybe it's less direct peer pressure as it is just his chameleon nature of, I'm going to more assimilate to who I'm hanging out with.
He wants to be controversial.
To stay away from predators. Yeah.
But he does have a hot mom.
If we do an end of the year thing, I do want that to become part of it. It would be possibly the worst thing like we've ever done.
It would be the greatest moment in Rain Man digital history.
It'd be the greatest thing we ever did at the same time. And isn't that what it's all about?
Yes.
Trying to stave off suicide, which Facebook Memories isn't helping Mike do in any way.
Apparently, things that Facebook has been doing has been traumatizing him.
I can definitely understand that perspective. As you get older, I could see it even more so.
Because I get those memories too, and all of a sudden it tells me, do you have this memory with your brother Dave and Mike? I'm like, oh yeah.
They are more often depressing. He's on to something where you think that algorithm would be better, where it's, hey, this is the day that you were really proud about, or look for keywords like, I'm so happy to be doing
I look
X.
back at it with a nostalgic look, little melancholy, whenever
you got
that
creepy face going on again.
He also has no soul.
Yeah. I don't 100% trust that right now.
It shows my love for my brother Dave and Mike. I
don't believe that for a fucking second. Something else is going on.
Please, Thomas, I have a heart.
Is it one that you own, or is it someone that you stole from someone else?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. But I definitely get those too. You'd think there'd be a better algorithm, because I've never shared one of those memories like, oh yeah, proud of this one. I'm always like, oh fuck, delete that. Did anybody see over my shoulder? Are they looking at it? They've always been negative things.
And there was those things on Facebook that people, like that thing about if you post anything on social media, it'll come back to bite you.
It's always going to be out there, yeah.
And this is Facebook's way of saying, hey, Thomas, remember this?
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like Facebook blackmail. It's like, hey, we have this. You fucking remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Thank you. I mean, Avi, have you ever shared one of your memories that Facebook showed?
I know I've sent some through Messenger. Like if they involved another person, I'd be like, "Hey, don't for this day. This was a lot of fun." But then I realized that was stupid because if they were tagged in the photo, they got the memory.
Also, you probably ruined their day because that day wasn't a good memory for them because the next day their husband had died. And you remind them of a very sad time. That's why memories suck.
Mike is anti-memory.
I'm not going to say I've never shared one, but they were usually just really good days that, I thought were awesome.
It's not as common.
Now, I have friends that constantly share their memories. And I'm just like, you're just reminding me how old I am.
So there's the other side effect. It's not just it makes you sad by seeing your own memories, but other people that may share one and post it can have an adverse effect. So Mike could be getting bombarded by his own sad memories and other ones where people are like, "Hey, Mike, you remember this of you that I have?" And then he's like, "Yeah, fuck you."
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, he just yelled in the background. Apparently they do that to him. That makes sense. Yeah, I just don't see the point in having that. Especially if you're somebody like Donald Trump, who now will have his entire future is littered with things from his past now. Mm-hmm. From things like, "Hey, remember that time Stormy Daniels lied and, broke a DNR?"
Oh, God, what if Twitter started doing that?
Oh, fuck.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Careers would die overnight
if
Twitter started doing a memories thing. That's a really good point.
A lot of people would be losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Oh. I've read of some instances where in sports, some athletes would be reminded, "Hey, you tweeted about this a while back when you were a teenager. Remember this?"
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. It's like it all kind of feeds back into Mike's statement that we feel like we're in this new age cold civil war, where it's mentalities on one side and opinions at odds with each other. Where we're not trying to fix anything. We're not trying to, as he said, work with congressmen to write something out and make anything better. It's just picking a side, drawing a line in the sand, and we're just waiting for the reason to attack people. Today's society, you can't fat shame, you can't slut shame, you can't make a joke that offends too many people, you can't make too many comments about your race or your sexuality without tanking your entire career. But the one thing that you can absolutely nail someone to the cross with these days is their political view. If you are a liberal, you are completely allowed to destroy conservatives and say the most abhorrent things you'd ever imagine. And vice versa. You can do and say terrible things from the other side of the fence. It really is. I don't know what other civilized society you're allowed to do that with just free reign. And it all feeds back into that reporter showing we are really animals. I mean, robbing the family dollar store, when there's cars driving in the road, you're not underwater like you were in Katrina. You're not living on your roof and like it's a raft and you swam out to the fucking dollar store, climbed in through the roof, took what you could that wasn't waterlogged.
I remember old news footage of like a long time ago. They had blackouts in the middle of the summer in New York City, and people would just go like
ape shit
and just break into stores, run off with TVs and all that shit. So it's like in this case, you have a reporter who's actually there. I'm witnessing it, I'm showing it to you live. And, other than, like back in the 70s, probably if they would be filming that sort of stuff of people breaking in and taking TVs, they wouldn't be following them.
Well, yeah. And that's just the thing is that's kind of feeds into that Walking Dead mentality that it's not the zombies that would destroy society. It's just we need the rules turned off for an hour. I mean, Canada alone, somebody has an hour of legality of smoking weed and someone already gets arrested for it.
It was a failed movement, but I'm still open to like taking over Mars in 2020. I'm
New
still
campaign.
Open. Yes.
There you go.
I think that, we just look back, look at our past mistakes.
Because
everything's going to go ape shit in a couple of years. So I'm offering,
2020 would be a presidential election. We can have Sabal Smith again for 2020.
I like Brian, but I think I got to get a brand new running mate.
Okay.
So is Tony the Hillary Clinton of the Rain Man show?
No, Tony's the Tony. Tony is the Tony of the Rain Man
I'm
Show.
the Bernie Sanders with fisting.
Jesus.
That's me. A socialized fisting for
one for everyone.
Exactly.
Part of your papers to go to Mars.
Yep.
You have to pass a physical
Hey,
exam.
you know what? Why not? I think we should seriously think about it because I hear Kanye is running in a couple of years. So, I
thought you were still on the fisting bit.
I can beat that Kanye. I can.
Tony, I tell you what, if Kanye West wins, I'll be your co-pilot to Mars.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll start a Kickstarter to build a fucking rocket ship to get out of here.
I'm telling you.
But yeah, all we're waiting for as a society, it seems, is somebody to turn off the lights, waiting for that rule to go down for just a minute.
The Purge.
And crazy shit. The Purge.
Oh, you know what? We're laughing now, but, like in a couple of years, what happens if the Purge becomes real?
Well, I think the first people that need to go are people that leave their kids in the car for 9 hours while they stuff their face for 60 fucking plates of food. That's how can you? Why? Why just
because
spend
they
your
can't
day
eat
doing
their
that?
kids?
I mean, and to not be a complete monster, I suppose Mike has a point where that has to be some kind of depression, psychological thing where you don't want to be around your kids. There's clearly something else going on.
Oh yeah,
with that lady. Yeah. But holy fuck, like as you said, AB, one of those kids was 1 year old. So where's the father involved in trying to do anything, take care of his own kids, fix this, get her some help? What a great
role model for those kids.
Yeah, those kids
they're fucked.
They're fucked. Yeah. They may end up assaulting somebody in a haunted house.
Not like I'm surprised after the damage that you inflict onto your own Willie.
Yeah,
I think you're stable. I think
I'm all right.
Yeah.
For the stuff, as Randy has asked me many times, how the fuck am I as normal as I am? Yeah. Quote.
I think all 4 of those stories could have easily fit your profile.
One of them is close to another story that's real that I won't share here. And
okay, please don't. I want to keep my my
I'm interested to hear whether it's Andrew or you. I want to hear everyone else's stories and see, did I go way down a road I shouldn't have?
I'll send something to Mike. It's more, we'll see.
We'll see. That'll be next week as we wrap up for the Rain Man Show. Incredibly talented post show. We will see you all next week.
See you, Avi.
Bye.
Dicks are real hot right now.